Hello, today we are going to be talking about geometry, and we're going to be doing a little bit of geometry review. The essential question for this lesson is, how do I find the area of a simple polygon? Which brings me to the question of what exactly is a simple polygon. And to answer that, it is a two-dimensional figure . And we're looking at, for a simple polygon, we're going to be looking at today either a square or a rectangle. And I'm going to draw, so here's a square, here's a rectangle. Remember, a square has side lengths that are all the same. There's 4 sides in both, but a square has side lengths that are the same. And so how we recognize that a side length is the same is we could do a little tick mark. And this one little tick mark signifies that each of those sides is the same length as the other side. So this is a square. Now in a rectangle, we also have 4 sides, but in a rectangle, this side is equivalent to this side, and this side is equivalent to this side. Not all 4 are the same. Now, the area or the distance around, that's called perimeter. And we get that answer by just adding. So if this was a 2 and this was a 4, we would say 2 plus 4 plus 2 plus 4, and that would tell you what your, this was a square, so this would be 2. So if this was a square, they were all the same. It would be 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2. Your perimeter would be 8. Now for the rectangle, if we wanted to know the area, and we had this is a 2 and this is a 4, the 2 and this is 4, the area is inside, and for that you would just multiply the length times the width. Now, remember in geometry we have perpendicular lines, we have parallel lines. Parallel lines go in the same distance or the same direction. So this line is parallel to this line. This line is parallel to this line. Perpendicular lines form a T when they intersect, so this would be perpendicular to this one. We also have angles. The angles are in here. And angles, we recognize or we measure them at a degree. There's 90-degree angles, 60-degree angles, 40-degree angles, 120-degree angles, all kinds of different angles. Whenever we're doing area, we always want to measure it in units squared. So for example, that would be like centimeters squared, inches squared, or feet squared. Now the formulas for area for these simple polygons . For a square, your area is the side squared, or side times side. So if I were to have a square with a side length of 5 centimeters, my area would be 5 squared, or remembering our exponents, that would be 5 times 5, which, what is 5 times 5, class?
25.
25. And what is our unit that we're measuring here? Centimeters. So it would be centimeters, and we would put that little 2 to say it was squared. That would be your answer. So you just multiply the side by itself, and that's the formula for the area of a square. Now the formula for a rectangle is length times width, or L times W. Sorry about it, I just accidentally hit my pen. Clean this up a little bit. Sorry about that. Alright, so if I had a rectangle with the side length of this is 8 and this was 12, I would do, and if it was inches, my area would be 8 times 12, or what is 8 times 12, class?
8 times?
You can shout it out if you know it.
96.
96, very good. So our answer would be 96 inches, what? Squared. You want to make sure you put that inches squared in there. That little 2 to signify that you're squaring your inches. Because what it's showing you is that in this rectangle there are 96 little square boxes. Yes. Alright, so like I said, using this formula we will then find the formula for the area of triangles, the area of parallelograms, the area of trapezoids, and different composite shapes. But for today, we're just going to remember those. The square formula is side times side. The formula for rectangle is length times width. And the last thing that we want to remember when we're talking about reviewing geometry from years before is plotting in the coordinate plane or grid. Now, hopefully in the past you have worked with an X and Y axis. This would have been, this vertical one is your Y, this horizontal one is your X. Now, you might not have plotted over here in the negative areas, but hopefully you have done something where you've done little tick marks. You've counted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And you've known that an ordered pair is like this, 2, 4. It has an X value and it has a Y value. And you hopefully remember that you first locate the X point on the X-axis. So for this one where I have 2, 4, I would go over to 2, and then you would go from that point up to the Y point on the Y-axis. So I would go over to 2, up to 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and I would make a dot. And this would represent my 2, 4 spot. So you make a dot where you make a point. If I wanted to do another one, I could say if I had 3, 1, I could go over to 3, up to 1. And then oftentimes we connect our little dots. Now, I've heard some people will use little phrases to remember that you always do the X first. So they'll say things like, when you're doing the coordinate grid, you want to crawl before you walk. You go across the ground and then up into the sky. So you always want to remember that you go across this way before you go up and down this way. So you go over to the first point and then up or down to the second point. Another phrase that I've heard is you want to dribble before you shoot. Like in basketball, you dribble the ball across the court, and when you get to the basket, you shoot it up. So you always want to go this way before you go this way. Yes?
I got a reference you can use, like, in like, it's called football. You like hike it, and you go like that, and then you bring it up.
So you go straight back, and then you throw it into the air?
Yeah. In a claw machine.
Yep. That's true. In a claw machine, you direct the claw machine over vertically or horizontally, and then it goes down. Yes. Because the X comes before the Y in the alphabet. Yep. Alright guys, so finish writing down these notes. You're going to use these notes to help you on your homework, which is your fair game review, and then tomorrow we're also going to do a practice on this as well. So if you have any questions, you can go back and rewatch the video. Thank you very much.